I'm delighted to be here today to celebrate with you a special milestone in the career development of our graduates and also in the development of international collaboration that supports the achievement of sustainable development goals through building technical and vocational education in Bangladesh. Today I'd like to dwell a little on the term career development and its relationship to these broader national goals. I'll commence by addressing pressures that are on the international education system as it responds to increase in market competition. It's becoming recognised in the higher education sector that an additional pressure sits on those responsible for developing business-related educational opportunities in these very complex and contemporary global and national environments. Students are keen to develop education that is career-focused, but they also need to cope and succeed in a world in which dynamic change is characterised by technological disruption of business and the professions. Skills that students develop today might need refurbishing, they might need redeveloping frequently as a result of technology. There's been much debate on the drivers of education and training and their implication for student learning outcomes for understanding and responding to this very heavy change environment. In fact, some commentators, including myself, have agreed that unless educators are aware of and skilled in practicing this new form of intelligence that they require of their students, in delivering knowledge and technical skills across many different contexts and cultures, we would actually be limiting their capacity to flourish and contribute in this environment. The term Fourth Industrial Revolution has been used by Professor Klaus Schwab, the founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum, to describe the environmental turmoil that businesses and organisations face today and in the future. He describes the Fourth Revolution as fundamentally different to previous ones. It's characterised by a range of new technologies that are fusing and challenging the physical, the digital and the biological aspects of human endeavour, impacting all disciplines, economies and industries, and even changing ideas about what it means to be human. The Fourth Revolution, he believes, presents both great opportunities and great dangers. It has the potential to put right the negative effects of previous generations in relation to economic development, but it also poses significant risks if organisations and governments are unable to capture its benefits. In fact, in these circumstances, inequality could grow. Schwab suggests that these risks will increase unless a more equitable approach to globalisation emerges, and this requires that business expands its mindset to give much more critical attention to its obligations and to optimise its social impact on individuals and nations in the pursuit of its own strategic goals. So what are the implications for education, which can now be seen as an industry sector? Schwab suggests that in this global environment of complexity and interdependency, a key challenge will be that of creating shared value in an increasingly fractured world. In other words, we need to be able to work together more productively in partnership. This challenge has great implications for the methods, approaches and skill sets that are driving technical and professional education today. Students at every stage of their professional development will face unprecedented challenges concerning their roles in influencing and navigating the impact of business on society, and often they will have very little guidance in how to proceed in these matters. It's therefore critical that students develop multidisciplinary insight and reflective capability that has been called at other times wisdom or judgment. The old professional certainties no longer work in many instances, yet many higher education and training providers still claim to offer this certainty, often by putting forward a traditional financial focus on short-term profits and ignoring the longer-term priorities associated with sustainable business impact across stakeholders nationally, regionally and globally. Thus, education is a key factor in the formation of a critical and value-based perspective of students and citizens. This capability is essential in developing an understanding of one's own professional contribution and also one's advocacy role when operating in professional environments. The recent literature on values and well-being of workers and managers in this environment demonstrates clearly that in an increasingly complex world, persons remain healthiest and most productive when they are clear about their value set as a basis for judgment. Today we celebrate that our graduates have qualified to access higher education, where they can develop further their technical skills and gain the opportunity to develop this broader judgment that I've been referring to. They need to think holistically with others, how people, safety, quality, risk and environmental factors come together when they are identifying and solving civil engineering problems. They can further develop this skill set through higher education so they can deal with the dynamism and complexity through higher education development, where they can practice conversations between different stakeholders, disciplines and cultures, and become competent in having such difficult conversations with diverse others in a supportive learning environment. Such capability is at the core of Schwab's suggestion that graduates should be able to help others understand different stakeholder perspectives and create shared value in an increasingly fractured world in order to solve its problems. So, how might such aims be achieved through programs and partnership that we've been hearing about today? Developing opportunities that benefit a range of stakeholders requires that relevant educational partners also demonstrate these skills and capabilities. I'd like to highlight different types of infrastructure development that have been demonstrated in the delivery of the Advanced Diploma of Engineering Technology Civil to Bangladesh students. First, this outcome represents an innovative and productive partnership in which Melbourne Polytechnic, the Institution of Diploma Engineers of Bangladesh, the National Polytechnic Institute, and Education for Skills Development have all come together to provide opportunities for all these organisations in creating value for students, governments, and the broader TVET community through innovative practice. I'd like to say a few words why I see this venture as such a special one. And in so doing, I draw from my own experience that has helped me identify different aspects of educational quality and relevance through partnership, and here I'm emphasising the word partnership. Previously, as a senior bureaucrat with the Commonwealth Government of Australia, I experienced how educational policy development needs balanced consideration of labour markets, skill development and higher educational reform, maintaining quality in times of rapidly changing environments such as I've referred to. As a general manager in a business school, I've realised how important it is to align theory and practice to meet stakeholder needs in promoting innovation through both accredited and non-accredited educational and technical offerings. As an educational consultant, a key focus has been on assisting and auditing private providers to develop innovative educational enterprise whilst complying with relevant standards, regulations and guidelines. As a Professor of Business and Management, I've recognised the challenges and opportunities in applying these principles in designing, delivering and managing business and management programmes in a rapidly changing higher education market. In all these instances, innovation has often occurred by recognising and developing unique opportunities through partnership across education providers internationally. I see many of these issues being considered and addressed in the partnership that we see represented here today and which we are celebrating. For example, a core set of values and interests within ESD is around shaping education relevant to economic and social needs. The increasing marketisation of education raises issues as to how educational providers themselves can demonstrate increased innovation and accountability through sustainable use of both physical and human resources in line with the needs of both developed and developing economies. This complex setting presents particular challenges and opportunities to providers of transnational education to define, refine and align value propositions for respective stakeholders, bearing in mind that the drivers of educational marketisation in education are often experienced differently by the different players. ESD is committed to developing partnerships that contribute to Bangladesh's sustainable development goals, in this instance through developing another level of diversity to Bangladesh's education and training infrastructure. I believe that what's been achieved here today demonstrates close alignment between all stakeholders involved, and I'd like to say a few words about how their value sets are aligned. Melbourne Polytechnic is committed to blending practice and theory to allow opportunities for increased transitioning of students to advance their learning. IDEB commits to promoting continual professional development through innovation, meeting sustainable development goals and serving humanity through inclusive growth. The National Polytech Institute aims to develop people that are highly skilled and demonstrate intellectual, social and personal potential to promote humanist values and peace through education. ESD is committed to its partners' missions, and it's also committed to exploring how collaborative opportunities might facilitate effective education and training development through educational partnerships. These partnerships allow transitions internationally and domestically, recognise existing student skills and experience, and find opportunities to further develop these skills through experience abroad and through access to quality assured education and training opportunities in other parts, promoting both individual careers and national development goals. Increased opportunities for professional development of its citizens can benefit Bangladesh in many ways, including globalisation of skill sets, sometimes through experience in other parts of the world, creating opportunities for skills enhancement at an international level, and sometimes by repatriation of resources to provide the much needed investment and development capital to extend employment opportunities domestically. Hopefully, as has been stated earlier, engineering will be one of the many professions and disciplines that can benefit from expanding opportunities in this way. Bangladesh's commitment to the Sustainable Development Goals is very encouraging to us as educators. It provides us with insight and guidance that is important in understanding how an educator's social licence to operate might support these goals. Particularly, it was encouraging to see the reference to stakeholder engagement and culture in Bangladesh's voluntary national review submitted to the United Nations in 2017. It recognised the challenges that I've been talking about today concerning a multi-stakeholder approach across sectors, but also the very essential nature of such commitment and capability to the achievement of integrated development initiatives and appropriate resource mobilisation. I'll conclude by returning to the value of this educational programme that we are celebrating today and the opportunities it provides. Concerns have been expressed over the past 20 years or so about the tendency of what's being called new vocationalism to divorce educational techniques and methods from values, often in the interests of easier measurement and marketing. By way of contrast, the aim here is to ensure that engineers have the potential to become even more reflective on their contribution to societal development through pursuing higher education pathways that help them understand this reflection. I'd like to think that this initiative that we're reflecting today illustrates such goals and ambitions through effective and respectful partnership, which I think we've all experienced in this initiative. In this instance, it's appropriate that it's happening between Australia and Bangladesh, given their long-standing relationship and joint commitment to educational investment as a means of development. Hopefully, new international opportunities will also develop in the future from the perceived success of this programme. Today, we are witnessing the results of synergised thinking across partners and stakeholders, as well as bearing witness to the energy and commitment invested by our students, on which I congratulate them. Graduates presenting today have demonstrated sufficient technical expertise to pursue higher education ambitions in Australia and thus open up international networks and develop global competencies, both technical and relationship, as well as career opportunities. I hope that the assembled graduates find ways of applying their learning to fulfil these long-term personal and national educational goals, bringing new networks and ideas into Bangladesh and developing both technical and critical skill sets to work effectively with others, domestically and globally. By so doing, they will be working towards a greater appreciation of and a greater contribution to Bangladesh's sustainable development goals. Well done, graduates. Make the most of your opportunities now that you have gained these, and thank you very much.